Hey guys, it's your boy M.K.S here, back again with another video. Probably shouldn't be having Sprite at 12 at night, half past midnight, but anyway. Hope you checked out part one. Yeah, that's it, sorry. And if not, please check it out and look out for part 3. And if you checked out part 1, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you do check it out in the future, I hope you'll enjoy it. But anyway, hopefully it'll be so good you'll watch over and over again. I might remake, but I know it's a bit long, but anyway. Lost my train of thought. So yeah, and I hope you'll enjoy this video. Obviously this is part 2 and continuation of my video. I'll try and keep it a bit short this time, but these are the things I want for Anglo-Indians, A.I.s as I call it for short, to stand for. I say UTD for United, not because I'm a Man United fan or anything like that. I'm a fan of Italian football, which I want Anglo-Indians to be, and Celtic, but because it's like I like shorthand. So as I say, hope you enjoy this list. So I forgot to say one or two things in my previous video about Italian football, Anglo-Indian supporting Italian football and Celtic, which is probably for the best because I'm probably going to mention that a few times. So I was going to say, when I said about Mediterranean, supporting Mediterranean, I was going to say part of that would be supporting Italian football, and I love Anglo-Indians to also train with Italians, and also hopefully people will think as Anglo-Indians are cool. So in India, hopefully they think we're cool. Maybe not. If Anglo-Indians are cool or seen as cool, if we wear the Italian football tops, hopefully more people in India will wear it. But I hope to form a relationship between, improved relations between Italy and, don't know why I'm doing quotation marks, but anyway, between Italy and India through football, and especially Anglo-Indians, and to practice together, and like Anglo-Indians and Indians to wear football kits, Italian football kits, Serie A and things like that. So anyway, here goes. Number 11, I hope for Anglo-Indians, as I say, A.I.s for short, to support inventors, ideas people, innovators, investors, and all that sort of thing from Africa, Asia, and support more people from those places, those nations in Africa and Asia to become inventors, and what I call the 4, and I'll keep going through like 4 Aborigines, Maoris, and people like that, like indigenous people from Africa, Australasia, the Americas, and Asia. I normally put it in sort of order, so it's like a pattern. Like supporting those to become inventors, and supporting the ones that already are inventors, and supporting their inventions and acknowledging their inventions, and supporting them to raise the profile of their inventions and so forth. And sort of changing Africa and Asia and those places I talked about for the better, and that support STEM for Aborigines and Maoris and people, indigenous Australians and Africans especially, and also like similar projects in Asia especially, and again from Native Americans as well, for the Native Americans as well. Number 12, I hope for us to like mentor, possibly the ones who are more successful, mentor each other and be a positive, like sort of uplift people and encourage people. Possibly like to watch fitness videos and become fit ourselves, and like train other people in fitness, and just be uplifting rather than negative or downgrading. Like not bully people, but rather do the opposite, like help to lift people up and support the oppressed and the vulnerable and people like that. So yeah, just be a force for positivity and positive vibes, and helping people to exercise, and as I say, possibly mentor and teach people in many cases, especially our fellow Anglo-Indians, but also make the world a better place in all possible ways, and that sort of thing. Be positive role models if we can, like obey the law, get along with people as much as we can. Be positive for people with physical, mental, and learning disabilities, people with mental health problems and things like that. So be sympathetic and empathetic, and that sort of thing. I'd also love us to be like non-smokers, teetotalers, like non-smokers, non-drinkers, non-drug takers, people who don't break the law and things like that. Like I'd love for other mixed race groups as well. Really, I love all these things I talk about for Anglo-Indians. I love other mixed race groups as well. But I'm sort of including Anglo-Indians in a separate category, but these could be applied pretty much for other mixed race groups, pretty much, other than maybe the Italian football thing. All the other things could pretty much be looking after animals, looking after children, and things like that. Number 13, a lot of these things are, I know, biases. I know a lot of these things are biases, like supporting Eurasian nations, transcontinental nations generally, the Mideast, the Mediterranean, and nations like that, especially Italian football and things like that. I know they're quite biased, so please forgive me for that one. So some of them are biased, some of them are more selfless and biased, prejudiced and all that in a way, kind of. biased, which is a kind of prejudice, I suppose, and some of them are more selfless. So, but yeah, as I often say, I do try and include a negative one for number 13. But yeah, so selfish side, the biases and all that kind of thing. And some of them are more selfless. Sorry. Number 14, I hope we'll solve problems. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Solve problems around the world that plague the world, like global warming, climate change, natural disasters. Support people who are victims of crime. Support people who are victims of abuse, crime, who have been adversely affected, unfortunately, through natural disasters or things like that, especially in developing countries, obviously. But even like in our local areas, maybe, especially if we think they're decent people. But yeah, I mean, obviously it's not always easy to know, but when there's flooding in places, try and help people. I thought of ideas like, I don't know how practical this would be, but an idea where, I know I'm full of ideas and not always very practical, but where like excess rain could be somehow caught in some sort of net, which could be made like, so where there's extra rain or flooding, if that could be somehow stopped from flooding and some sort of thing, protect, like maybe kind of a net or something that could stop the rain from a certain distance, and then take that excess rain, which is caught in a net or whatever it is, and take it to areas where there are droughts. So it'd be like sort of spreading the water from one area to another. So that sort of thing. I like to think God gives me some of these ideas as well. That helps me out as well. Anyway, number 15. Again, I'd love us to support India. India is a big country. I'd love us to support. I hope to in the future, maybe next Monday. Hopefully, all being well. If I get enough time and I remember and all that. No, my memory nowadays is such a nightmare. But if I do remember, I think it's the 22nd on Monday, the 22nd, or the Monday after that, whatever Monday I can remember or get round to it, depending on time, accessibility, and availability, of whatever opportunity, chance, or whatever. I hope to talk about India, like what apparently, according to Frank Anthony, who was one of the first representatives of the Anglo-Indian community, this is debatable. I've heard people debate this, including my fellow solely my fellow Anglo-Indians. So don't know my pronunciation. But Frank Anthony said it was a tale of British betrayal in India, and I think that's one of his books. I haven't really read it. I don't really read many books, but or hardly any books, pretty much none. But he said that the British, when they took over India, and they sort of made Anglo-Indians in a way, but when they left, they didn't let any Anglo-Indians come to the UK, but India allowed us to stay in their country and gave us seats in Parliament, which are now taken away, but I hope they'll reinstate those seats and look after us again. And they kind of didn't blame us for colonialism or anything. They sort of looked after us, and even other Asian nations treated their mixed race people like Amerasians in Vietnam. Because of the war, they blamed them and they treated them badly, even though it was not their fault. But so India was like one of the few countries I've never heard of a country that's given seats in Parliament to minority groups who are mixed race or whatever. So I thank them very much, and that's one reason why I hope to support them and my fellow Anglo-Indians support them. And also, as I say, the way that the Brits or whatever, if you like, took over India. So I hope to reparate them, but also how they made Anglo-Indians. Apparently, again, this is debatable, but apparently they made us to sort of divide India up. So I think it would be a great irony if we were the ones who helped unite Asia, not just India, but in Asia, anti-imperialism. So that's part of my plan for the East India Company to be owned by, like a new version to be owned this time by India and benefit India. But anyway, more on that later. So again, this list is quite long, so I'm going to try and move on. Number 16, again, I love us to support Italian football, Serie A, and Italian football generally, grassroots and lower level football as well, especially at youth level, and practice together with like Anglo-Indian teams going to Italy as much as possible and around the world practicing with Italians as often as possible, and also Celtic. Number 17, again, I hope for us to practice with Italian football and Celtic and use our skills and talents and abilities to help Italian football and Celtic, but also to help people around the world. That's a bit of a more biased thing, but I hope we'll be able to support disadvantaged people as well, and that kind of thing. Number 18, again, I hope for us to make the world a better place. Number 19, I hope for us to support African technology, which again I think would be another irony. African software developers, especially women, because we're part European and part Asian. I don't know why I speak But yeah, we're Eurasian, we're part European and part Asian, so I think it'd be quite an irony, if that's the right way of putting it, for us to support Africa, considering our background is in Europe and Asia, not in Africa. But so it's like almost the only background that we're not from, in a way, kind of. But anyway, yeah. So, and also Aborigines and Maoris, and support them in terms of supporting them, especially women, to become software developers and leaders and develop their own apps and programming and coding and whatever else we can support them with, like funding, training, and possibly the ones who are good at technology, Anglo-Indians who are good at technology, going over there and teaching them, and encouraging the Indian government and others to set up things like the AIT and African Institute of Technology and Anglo-Indian support, things like that. And number 20, support general tech in Africa, and again, using our skills, talents, abilities, ideas, imagination, whatever else to support those disadvantaged groups. And again, from a bias point of view, Italian football and Celtic. And yeah, that sort of thing, supporting as many projects in Africa and Asia as possible, supporting Pan-Asianism, Pan-Africanism, and things like that. So, hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know what you think, as ever, and you can comment on anything you like, any points you like. For now, I'm out. So this will do. Peace out.